Upshade Ma Africa. Today's video is for all the African children staying in Azania. And today, we must be very clear that I don't want any people that want to pretend in this podcast. I don't want anyone who wants to pretend as if they care about Chris Hani. You who's pretending as if you care about Chris Hani's family, Chris Hani's wife, and Chris Hani's children. I'm specifically talking to the politicians. The Communist Party, stop pretending. The ANC, stop pretending. Everyone else who claims to be a Pan-Africanist or a communist, stop pretending. It ends today. Yalush Walush has been deported. He's gone. He's going back home. The man who assassinated Chris Hani 1993 on the 10th of April is gone. No mass protests at the airport. And we have to thank Cyril Ramaphosa for all of this. We must clap hands for him for appointing Uzondo. Zondo, after he being appointed, months after being appointed, he approves the parole of Yalish Walush. You guys remember that? The coalition government comes into place, and guess which ministries does the Democratic Alliance get? They get Home Affairs. That's what you need to deport someone. They get Correctional Service. That's what you need to deport a criminal who killed one of, arguably, the most famous politician in South Africa after Nelson Mandela, Chris Hani. Now, what is this pretend? Because we as South Africans will always be looked at as weak. Because I hear to see South Africans are running to TikTok to discuss this, running to YouTube to discuss this. Asenzi next. In fact, it's late to do anything. It's late. The ANC has shown us the true colors. You tell Panyazali Sufi that I said they have killed Chris Hani again. Tell him that I said so. We are an embarrassment as people. We don't defend our heroes. We don't defend our history. We are just here just to talk, Japan. No actions. Can't fight for land. Can't fight for minerals. Can't fight for the township economy. Can't fight for our passports. Can't fight for anything. Can't fight for our children. Can't fight for Bella Bin. We can't fight for Chris Hani. We have failed as South Africans. And somebody must say it. Somebody must say it. Let's stop pretending as if we care. Let's stop. Justice.
Welcome to King Said So, Africa's one land, one language, one currency, one army on King Said So. Africans can unite. Your Pan-Africanist podcast. Enjoy.
Victims of crimes are often blamed and re-traumatized by our courts. I have first-hand experience. We sat in court and were blamed and shamed. This is in the Constitutional Court. I'm told Comrade Sodi says it was last year. I thought it was this year. Responding to a supposed to be sorry letter from my husband's killer. The judge is pertinent that this letter that I never received should have been responded to positively by me. Dear South Africans, dear comrades, I have never ever received a letter from Walus, neither from the Chief Justice. So I don't know what letter they were talking about. However, the judgment or the reason that Walus was given parole was because Chief Justice Zondo felt I didn't answer the bus letter. Remember, Walus is white, so I'm black woman, no husband, so I can be bullied. And then my sin was I did not respond to Walus' letter that I never received. I hope maybe some of you might have received the letter. If you did, will you please pass me a copy? Then I can respond to that famous letter.
Peace in Pan-Africanism to all my African brothers and sisters from all around the world. Welcome back to King Seso. I'm your host, Kagiso Hlongwane Zinjiva Sono, and we're back at it again with another one. And guys, I am completely defeated by how weak we are as South African men. Let me leave the women alone. Let me leave the sisters, the queens alone. South African men. I wash my hands, guys. There's nothing that we are fighting for, South African men. You guys tell me on the comment section, how and when did South African men make you proud? If we, you guys don't understand what just happened, what just transpired in front of us, allowing the Home Affairs Department and the Correctional Service, this white monopoly capitalist, to deport a man who assassinated one of our own without telling us who said he must assassinate him, without telling us. Everywhere. Somebody commented one of the videos, I think, why lo muntu lo singaga qedi ngaye fast when he was still behind bars? And I ask myself, why? Why? Why lo muntu lo kufike isikhathi sokuthi aqede 25 years ahleli lapha singamenzanga lutho? Somebody come explain it to me. You know, when I was trying to compile this video, I was like, where does a person start? Do you go back to 1993, excuse me, and try to explain why it was important to eliminate Chris Hani? And I'm like, yeah, fine, you go back then for what good reason? This whole thing for me started when Cyril Ramaphosa appointed Zondo, and Zondo approved the parole of Yalush Walush without any consent of Chris Hani's wife, Madimpo. Now, let me take you back to the words of the widow of Chris Hani. What she said on, when was it? Was the 21st of November 2022. This is what she said.
We couldn't be bothered. All of them.
Did Minister Lamula talk to you when he made his decision?
Leave the minister. I don't deal with ministers. I'm dealing with courts. I've been in court in and out. And Wallace has lost all the cases. Okay. Now he comes here, this one's because in South Africa there are gods. What they say goes. I wish them the best. Do you know about karma? Watch the space, all of them. Watch karma. I give them 2 years.
Yes. Have you
Talk
decided
to me.
on a way
Talk to
forward?
me after 2 years. Karma exists. All of them there, sitting there, from Zondo downwards. This judgment is diabolical. Totally diabolical. I've never seen anything like this. And my understanding of Zondo's judgment, as he was talking, indirectly he says, Walus did well to kill my husband. Now let me give you free information. If my husband was not killed, we would never have had elections. Mandela, after my husband was murdered, said to the clerk, for us to stop this, give us election date. That's why Zondo and his friends today are sitting in this court. Otherwise, we would still be under apartheid. He would be somewhere in a shack doing his practice. Give me a break. Lindy West is Zulu. I give it to you, my dear sister. You are vindicated today. South Africans, learn to listen to black people when they tell you about justice in this country. We are in shed, full stop.
And a way forward, how have you decided on a way forward?
Actually, this is I don't have anymore. What they say goes. But I'm telling you, the God that I pray, I give them 2 years, all of them, including that zone of yours.
From that day, if there was any speck of respect that I still had for the ANC and even the Communist Party, it vanished that day. I no longer took the ANC as the ANC. That was an eye-opening moment for me of a realization of what is actually happening. I was like, how? Why is it that this Yalush Walush finished his life sentence when Jacob Zuma and Mogoeng were the people that could have released him? Remember, he's the Chief Justice and the President. And obviously the President, he's going to talk with the Home Affairs Minister and the Correctional Service Minister. During their time, Mogoeng and Jacob Zuma, they said no. You still have not shown any remorse, and still you don't want to tell us why you assassinated Chris Hani and who helped you. Remember that the issue was that this Polish man came to our country and was given citizenship just kanjalonje, because that's how they were doing it back in the apartheid days. And then after that, he used a South African Defence Force weapon to assassinate Chris Hani. Where did he assassinate him? He did not wait for any event or anything like that. Umlandeleng shot him, point range, don't know how many bullets, and shot him dead in front of his driveway. You guys remember those scenes. If you're old enough, you remember everything. Now, imagine Chris Hani's wife coming out from the sound of the gun. The sound of the gun. The husband is lying on the floor. Lifeless body lying on the floor. They arrest this man. Tinabantu abamnyama, that day we failed Chris Hani. That day we could not go to the prison that they are keeping him. That day, where was the true man in South Africa? That day, when the assassination, when the crime was still fresh, all of these Communist Party guys, Bosoli, all of them, where were they? The ANC, where were they? Which got most people thinking, Norman, these comrades, they were part of this. They were part of this thing. Not all of them, obviously. Some of these comrades know exactly why Chris Hani had to be removed from the picture so that Mandela can shine. Now, they went to go search the killers' houses. And they found out that, there was a hit list. They find a hit list of names of politicians that were supposed to be assassinated. Chris Hani's name was there. Yeah, no, South Africa. So, in deporting this murderer, they informed Chris Hani's wife about him leaving our country one day before. Everyone yesterday was running around, a day before yesterday. I'm recording this Saturday morning. It's past 2 o'clock in the morning now. So everybody on Friday it was breaking news. Yalush Walush will be deported. He must go back to Poland. When that happened, none of the politicians said, you know what? To show Chris Hani's wife and to show that really we, the Communist Party, are angry at what is happening, let's organize a crazy march, emergency march for all South Africans. Anyone who is South African, drive to the airport, block whatever, just come, let us protest and let's show it. Let's show that we are unhappy with this man living with the information that he must dispose to South Africans. This man owes us a story. It makes sense now. It makes sense. When we talk about everything, when we look back, it makes sense why Zondo was made the Chief Justice. It makes sense why Home Affairs was given to Dr. Leon. It makes 100% sense why Dr. Peter Groenewald, who was in the political party that assassinated Chris Hani, by the way, is a correctional service minister today. It makes sense. The same Groenewald who threatened civil war because he said anyone who thinks he can take land without compensation, you are dreaming. He said that in parliament. Asenzanga Luto.
Put it quite frankly, if anybody thinks in South Africa that you can take the land without compensation, you're living in a dream. Let me put it quite frankly to you. If you want to start a civil war in South Africa, do that. Do that. And I told you before, that don't misjudge.
It's decidedly
what are you raising, honorable member?
on a point of order.
On which rule, honorable member?
The rule that establishes point of order, you know what is the rule. But the point of order is, he can't stand there and threaten civil war for a radical program of land occupation. It's not parliamentary to threaten civil war. If you want civil war, Chief, don't threaten it there.
Thank you. I think honorable
member... You must never threaten civil war. You know nothing about war.
Honorable member, thank you. Your point has been made. Thank you.
Now, this is how these people can threaten us and we do nothing in South Africa. Absolutely nothing. Utiganti, why abantu bangas respect? Why the Nigerians don't respect us? Why the Zimbabweans don't respect us? Why none of the African countries don't respect us? I'm not saying South Africa, because I've explained in the other video, the big difference between South Africa and South Africans. Everybody respects South Africa, but very few people respect South Africans, because people can threaten us in court, in parliament. Thank God who Floyd stood up and said something, but we've been talking for long, Tina, South Africans. We've been talking. Hey, we are good with talking. Yo, hey, how we talk in this country. Peter Groenewald was a member of the Conservative Party, the same political party that assigned this man to go and assassinate Chris Hani. Some of the, I think two of the other co-accused were members of the Conservative Party. The other one passed away after also being released on medical parole. South Africans, we did absolutely nothing. You know, so my question is, when they were busy starting to prepare their nonsense there at the airport, why Singapumanga in our numbers? Now, okay, let me not put too much pressure on you, because like I said, it's a pretender. Let me not put too much pressure on you. The Communist Party themselves could not go out in numbers to protest at the airport, so that it must not be a smooth transaction. Our police, the way our correctional service were protecting this old man, so that he can, excuse me, so that he can live in peace, so he can go back home in peace. I'm sure he's gonna receive a hero's welcome, because he is a hero to them. He's a hero to them. Tina, who's our hero? Our hero is his bones now. We are busy killing him again. No, I said, Buffett. He said what we are doing in South Africa. He said what we are doing in South Africa. That's why I cannot trust any of these politicians. I cannot. Some because Chris Hani was not in their political party, in principle, they were supposed to stand up. Those who claim that they are Pan-Africanist political parties, I'm not going to name any. You know who I'm talking about. All they're going to do is release a comment, a media comment, or a political party statement. That's all they're going to do. That's all they're going to do. Because we South Africans, we are good in talking. Go on the comment section and umtshela ukuthi uyangithola na, uyangithola later or uzongithola later. But ngiyathemba niyangithola. Most of you understand what I'm saying. So now, how must the family feel? This family, how must they feel about us South Africans? If we could not fight for Chris Hani, a man that we so glorify, if we could not fight for him, how must the family feel? Their daughters, Chris Hani's daughters, how must they feel? South African Communist Party, do you have any answers? Useless, man. Useless. King, what were you supposed to do? I don't know what were you supposed to do. Do something, kabangan. Don't ask me. Kabangan. I was just a few years old. I was not even in primary school when Chris Hani was assassinated. I was a child. So, what breaks my heart is this, and I'm going to wrap it up. South Africans can't fight for their land. They don't, in fact, they don't want land. South Africans don't want land. South African wants jobs. We have discovered that. We have concluded on that one. South Africans don't want land. They don't want it. They want jobs. They want a car. They want a house. They want medical aid. They want all of. They don't know what land means. South Africans, most of us. South Africans don't want to fight for minerals. They don't want the mine. South Africans want the job at the mine. Do you understand what I'm saying? South Africans don't want a farm. South Africans want their job at the farm. South Africans don't want to own means of production, mass importing and exporting of goods. South Africans want the tuck shop. Somebody has to say it. Somebody has to say it. South Africans don't want to build their own institution. They want inclusion into the Afrikaner schools. I have to say it like that, because if I don't say it like that, you're not going to understand what I'm trying to say. You don't want to build your own. You want inclusion on what other people has already built. I let that sink in. Let that sink in. You don't care about your history. You don't care about your heroes. It's clear. Let's stop pretending. Can we stop pretending? We don't love Chris Hani. We don't. The Communist Party must stop pretending as if they care about Chris Hani. In fact, I'm sure some of them are relieved that the killer of Chris Hani has been deported. I'm sure they are relieved. So, we are not going to deal with this issue again. I'm a coward. That is why I said, what benefit is it going to be for the coming generation if all me and you have built is social media platforms? Not even social media platforms, because we are not building the platforms. Social media accounts. I know I had 100,000 subscribers. I had 1 million subscribers. On TikTok, I'm the most followed. How is the next generation going to benefit from that rubbish? Tell me. Tell me. And you don't understand that these politicians are going to continuously disappoint us because the system of politics is not there to liberate us as African people. When I say, Asugumeni, let's do something, let's build a school. And most of you know, if you've been following my channel, know why I want to build this school. There is a bigger why behind why we want to build Paseta. Some of the things we can't say here because we don't want to be targeted. But there is a bigger why we are starting with the school. There is a bigger picture on what we are trying to do to win our country back and put our children in a better footing. And we're saying we are starting with the school. We are asking, 50 rand. Every day, there isn't a day I don't speak about Paseta. Why? Because I can see the political system, government will always fail us. Let's build our own. That's what they did in Orania. That's what they did in Kleinfontein. That's what they did in Fatherland. That's what they are doing. Tina's clearly sivula ma account, TikTok account, YouTube account. Hey man, on X I'm the most followed. Has changed anything about the next generation? Let's have some sense of pride, man. Some sense of pride of ownership as African people. That we have done something. You know, yesterday I bought a book. Actually, I didn't buy it yesterday. It arrived yesterday. This is Socialism Nomuntu Musha. You know, taking the oath of revolution. This is written by Mlaudi Wama Sekake. I'll try and take a better picture of this book. This is volume 1. Taking the oath to revolution. Socialism Nomuntu Musha. There's 2 volumes. I'm going to actually we are talking about him coming to the podcast so that he can tell us about his life. I mean, this is beautiful. I can't wait to read this. This is what I will be reading for December, and January I'll be buying volume 2, hopefully. Education is important, but not just education. What type of education is what is key. What type of programming do we put our children under is very important. Why is it that Paseta wants to teach history? Why is it that Paseta wants to teach science? Why is it that Paseta wants to teach economics? Why is it that Paseta wants to teach technology and agriculture? Why? Why? You know? So the cry is, us as Africans, we have big numbers. Mina, I've said to my team, and to many other people, we've got committees in Paseta, and they have said, King, we can ask money from our colonizers. In fact, we had offers. I said no. If we are not going to build the Pan-African School of Economics, Technology and Agriculture with African money, then I don't want to be part of it. It's not Pan-Africanism. I don't want Chinese money. I don't want Russian money. I don't want anybody Caucasian. I don't want nobody's money except for African money. Mfuna yaku 50 rand. Why? Because Tina, we've got the numbers as African people. If we can sit down and commit to a 50 rand a month, a 20 rand a month, a 15 rand a month, a 10 rand, hell, even a 5 rand a month, Tina, as African people, there's nothing that we cannot do if singahlangana. From different political parties, from different religious beliefs, from different cultures. If we can come together and say, we are building this school, nothing can stop Paseta. Nothing. Only us, we can stop it. Only us. But nobody from outside can stop it. I promise you. So, please, it's December. You've got so many things that you must cover. Some of you are going back home because we Africans, majority of us, don't work in the province where we were born. I'm from Mpumalanga. I'm in Northern Cape. I've been in Northern Cape since 2009, 2008. Northern Cape is home now. I'm married this side. My children are born here, so Northern Cape is home for me. But my December, I go back to Mpumalanga. I go back to Limpopo, where my father is from. Guyana, to be specific. Mpumalanga, I'm talking about KwaNdebele, KwaMhlanga. That's where I come from. So we are saying, let us contribute 50 rand. We've got all of these things that we must take care of. But remember, the plan is still to build for the future generation. Because Tina, yet generation, we are almost sihlulekile. But in our going out, because every generation has got a time and place where it must be intentional about what it's doing. Because if it's not, it's going to phase out. So right now, let's be intentional about building Paseta. Let's be very intentional. So that the next generation can say, okay, these ones who were born in the 90s, in the 80s, in the 70s, hell, in the 60s, some of you who are watching the channel, did something for us. We are where we are because of Paseta. The killer of Chris Hani has left our country without telling us why, who, and where. Why he did it, who helped him, who instructed him, where it all started for them to plot this assassination of one of the best politicians that we ever had in South Africa, Chris Hani. We can't even say may his soul rest in peace when we are continuously killing him again and again. So in this channel, let us not be distracted by everything that is happening. Let's continue with this thing of building for the coming generation. I'm telling you, let us, because they're gonna run with this story for 1 week, 2 weeks, up until the EFF, National People's Assembly, and the MK political party 1 year anniversary. The media will bombard us with information so that we don't build, so that we don't do anything for the coming generation. All we do is to be in television so that they can tell us a vision. Let's be careful, African people. Let's not be distracted by what is happening on the TV set. Until we meet again, don't forget to pray. But after you pray, stand up, African child. Do your best so that God can do the rest. Peace in Pan Africanism. I salute you.